The Lord's toe is struck, it's the mind that hurts. The scar is indebted to a shred from a royal stole. O princess, the memory lingers. How beautifully this poem expresses the delicate relations between two persons in such a concise verse. These few lines evoke in the reader's mind the legend of Lord Krishna hurting his big toe, Draupadi tearing a corner of her expensive stole without hesitation to dress his wound, and the unique bond of affection and friendship between them. Capturing the waves of emotions emerging from an incident in minimum words without actually describing the incident is a specialty of the poetry of Purushottam Patil. Today, in the 87th episode of Granthyatra, we are going to explore his collection of poetry titled Talyatalya saulya, or Shadows in the Lake. A warm welcome to all the viewers. Poet Purushottam Patil was born in 1928 at a town called Bahadurpur in Jalgaon district. After completing his schooling from Bahadurpur and Amarner, Patil moved to Pune for higher studies and joined Fergusson College. He got acquainted to the literary atmosphere in Pune while working as a secretary of College Literary Society. Several of his poems were published in the literary magazine Satyakatha. From 1948 to 1952, Patil worked as a secretary to the noted poet B.B. Borkar. In 1953, he joined the daily Navashakti in Mumbai as a sub-editor. Later, he worked as a school teacher and then as a professor of Marathi at the college run by Shivaji Educational Society in Dhule. His first collection of poetry, Talyatalya saulya, was published in 1978. Beauty is the core of Patil's poetry. It is a poetry written with an eye for beauty. His poems capture moments of beauty and contentment in nature, in relationships, in love and emotions. Ripples of emotions that make life joyful are delicately revealed in his poetry. Look how beautifully he describes a new moon night. This dark new moon night, smiling with a million stars. Impish clouds run away when chided by angry winds. Bushes on the bank, swaying, breathing content, shower music of joy on the wild stream. Woods are happy, such a joyful dark night, and then the bed of darkness is naughty. Just as this joy and sense of fulfillment overflowing in Patil's poetry is because of nature's beauty, it also emerges from a delicate eroticism. Many of his poems reflect this happy eroticism. The burning henna on hand spreads its heat to the body, the overflowing fair joy, the joy for mind's embrace. Or, jasmine bosom, fragrant body, with a swaying gait stirs the body. Patil's poems such as these have no description of the woman's body or even that of any incident. They only capture the fleeting emotions or glimpses of a moment. At times, these depictions also display the power of man-woman attraction. The one freshly bathed in fire received a dangerous, awkward gift, and the body singed. Embarrassed, the flames turned downward and decorated her feet and made me feverish. Or, her body's tight, pressing the flesh, the red mark proudly displayed at the embellished hem. Tightly worn, pale grey garment clings and pricks the leisured pace, and the word spreads. The love blossoming in Patil's poems is discreet and mature. There is no crudeness, coercion, tackiness, or one-sided dreaming. A good example is his famous poem, Hospitality. For the one anticipated a busy dawn, sprinkling in courtyard, a light decoration, and a little rounded sun. For the one who stayed, a single seat, delicious food, and a neat, saffron-scented, tender betel leaf. Poems such as this depict the fast disappearing rural culture, the warmth in relationships, and a leisurely pace of living. Patil's poems display a range of shades of love. At times, they depict a bold invitation. Look at his poem, The Cliff. In the tender sunshine of dawn, you are drunk with the fire of noon. Despite a fair golden day, you are scared like night of new moon. Or, do not come with feet soaked in the stream. Do not anoint your forehead with the pink soil on the way. Clinging closer than life, do not stop my gaze mid-air with that anointed forehead. At times, Patil's poems describe an impossible love. When these birds of gay musical notes, carving melodious designs on peaceful silence, came surging towards me from your lips, inside the cage, I fanned them gratefully and fluttered my wings. At other times, one can glimpse the depiction of love at mature age in Patil's poems. Feeble signals no more, just a promise is desired. Let the path be straight and neat, let the hunt be in open. In addition to the endearing attraction between two individuals depicted in Patil's poetry, some of his poems also reflect the uneasiness of contractual love. In one such poem, he writes, "The easy embrace, but the fingers did not press. The mind did not rip, but the body faked a shiver. The delicate welcoming lips, but the touch was shattered, and the neck survived a rope only for a sob." Or, "In the surge of a tight embrace, I did not notice your misery. Even when absorbing all the poison, you doused the thankless embers. The repenting mind in this body, trying to drown its sorrow, is now happily disembodied by your silent sorrow." Even the sorrow of parting is restrained in Patil's poems, just like the expression of love. In one poem, he writes, "The courtyard has been lonely, the soil sad below the trees. My heavy creeper, the leaves make dizzy. Who went far away? May we come together. Let the bud bear the light wine's burden." In another poem, he describes the instance of parting. "The 5 breaths of parting entwined in 5 fingers. Why this surge of the joy of touch at the moment of parting? Now the hands are folded and they pay respects. Only the bracelet at wrist sighs with sorrow." And once in a while, his poems depict betrayal. "Hand in hand the night weeps at the pillow, though the stars stretch the time, the wounded moment keeps sobbing. Light is squeamish, the moon bloodthirsty, even the nectar is spoiled, and the reflection in my cupped hands is fainting in these tears." Not all poems in this collection are love poems. The poet's sensitive mind is revealed through other themes as well. He is particularly sympathetic to women's predicament. In his poem The Palm, he writes, "What a palm! Letters of dry lines, ashes and embers of dishes, washed all life. What a palm! Hardened by water, pulled all life, by wheel and sobbing rope." In another poem, Dawn, he writes, "Rustling bucket, sleeping husband, the heavy pail, the careful turn, sprinkling the courtyard, filling the pots, wet garments, pinching the skin." And then some of Patil's poems explore the concept of death. In the poem The Final Day, he writes, "I donated myself the dole of pain, the giving state for the end. How bitter it gets, the final day, bathed by tears, the parting." In another poem titled Liberation, he writes, "Let go, the soul is now tired, in the delicate body of oath, the mortified call of your cursed stone, I can do with even that tasted antidote. To tell us more about Purushottam Patil's poems that capture such delicate perceptions, we have with us today Professor Dilip Dhondage.
कविवर्य पुरुषोत्तम पाटील यांच्या तळ्यातल्या सावल्या या संग्रहातली कविता प्रेम, रती, स्त्री पुरुषांना परस्पर संबंधी वाटणारं आकर्षण वगैरेंसंबंधी तरलतेनं भाव पातळीवर मांडणी करणारी एक अनोखी कविता आहे. आकर्षण, अनुभूती, आठवणी, आविष्कार या टप्प्यांवरून ही कविता प्रवास करते व काव्यरूप पावते. प्रेम भावना, रती या मनुष्य जातीच्या अगर प्राणी जातीच्या प्राथमिक मूलभूत अशा सहज प्रेरणा आहेत, पण आपण इंग्रजीमध्ये इन्स्टिंक्ट्स असं म्हणतो. त्यांना जागृत व्हायला काही कारण मिळालं की त्या जागृत होतात, किंवा रसाच्या परिभाषेत म्हणायचं तर त्या उद्दीपित होतात. उद्दीपित करणाऱ्या कारणांना उद्दीपन विभाव असं म्हणतात. प्रेम, रती हे स्थायी भाव आलंबन विभावासारखे असतात. मी मगाशी म्हणालो या सहज प्रेरणा आहे, आणि सहजता कवीने एका कवितेत व्यक्तही केलेली आहे. अनायास वाहे पाणी तशी सहज बोलणी, ऊन कुरवाळे माती तशा नजर स्पर्शती, जळी तरंग तो वारा जसा देहात शहार. पुरुषोत्तम पाटील आपल्या अनुभवांना शृंगार चेष्टांचे स्वरूप देत नाहीत, तर त्यांना भाव पातळीवर नेतात. पाण्याची वाफ होते त्याप्रमाणे आठवणी, अनुभव यांचं भाव पातळीवर ऊर्ध्व पातन होत. पाण्याची जडता, दृश्यात्मकता वाफेत नाहीशी होते. वाफेत उष्णीय ऊर्जा, शक्ती असते, तशी भावामध्ये पण शक्ती असते. या कवितेमध्ये भाषेचंही ऊर्ध्व पातन होत. त्यामुळे नेमके शब्द, त्यांचे नेमके बंध, नेमकी लय, नेमका ताल यांचे संघटन होते. एक बांधेसूद काव्यरूप असं साकारत आणि अल्पाक्षर रमणीयतेचा प्रत्यय येतो. रती या शब्दप्रयोगात प्रेम, वासना इत्यादी सगळ्याच सहज प्रेरणा अंतर्निहित असतात. या सहज प्रेरणा जशा शारीर आहेत तशाच मानसिक पण आहेत. त्यामुळे शारीरिकतेकडून मानसिकतेकडे त्या पर्यवस्थित होतात, आणि कवी त्यांचं अंतिम टप्प्यामध्ये एक आविष्करण करतो. मानसिक पातळीवर शारीरिक पातळी इतकी वासनांकितता नसते. हे तसे काही नाही म्हणी, फक्त अशा आठवणी या ओळीतून दिसते. या तळ्यातल्या सावल्या मनप्रांतातल्या आठवणी आहेत. सावलीला पकडणं कठीण, मग उपमान, प्रतिमा यांच्या द्वारा ते अभिव्यक्त करायच्या आणि सूचकतेचा प्रत्यय द्यायचा. कविवर्य बोरकरांनी पुरुषोत्तम पाटलांच्या तळ्यातल्या सावल्यातील कवितेला लाजाळू सारखी नाजूक, सूक्ष्म आणि तितकी चिवट असल्याचं म्हटलं आहे. अस्फुट भावनांना कवी स्फुट करताना प्रतिमांनी एक दृश्य रूप प्राप्त करून देतो. मला या प्रसंगी ज्ञानदेवांच्या एका ओवीची आठवण होते, पण पुरुषोत्तम पाटलांच्या अर्थाने ती ओवी आपण घ्यायची आहे. तेने कारणे मी बोलेन, बोली अरूपाचे रूप दावीन, अतींद्रिय परिभोगवीन, इंद्रियांकरवी. त्याच्यामुळे हा अनुभव अतिंद्रिय अनुभव मानला तर तो इंद्रियांकरवी भोगायचा, आणि ऐंद्रिय अनुभव मानला तर तो अतिंद्रिय पातळीवरती अनुभवायचा. असा दोन्ही बाजूचा प्रवास या कवितेमध्ये आपल्याला झालेला दिसतो. अर्थात ज्ञानदेवांची ओवी ही वेगळ्या संदर्भातली आहे, पण भाषेच्या पातळीवरती आणि अनुभवाचं आविष्करण या दृष्टीने विचार करता मुद्दाम ही ओवी मी उद्धृत केलेली आहे. धन्यवाद.
Purushottam Patil dedicated 4 decades of his life to editing literary magazines. From 1978 to 1983, he edited a periodical called Anushtup. Having felt the need for a magazine dedicated to poetry, he launched the bi-monthly magazine Kavitarati. Its first edition was published in 1985. For the past 38 years, this magazine has made notable contributions to Marathi literature by publishing poetry of contemporary poets and critical assessment of that poetry. Kavitarati magazine has been instrumental in nurturing a taste for poetry among Marathi readers. I am sure you will all love Purushottam Patil's poetry that gracefully depicts the delicate emotional bonds between two individuals, that explores the mature and meaningful man-woman relationships, and that depicts the stately and modest love in rural surroundings. Do read his collection of poetry, Talyatalya saulya. We shall meet in the next episode of Granthyatra to know the life story of an extraordinary human being. Until then, keep reading.